The North Gauteng High Court has suspended the Public Protector's remedial actions against Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan pending a judicial review of the report. Busisiwe Mkhwebane's released a report into the so-called SARS rogue unit in which she instructed President Cyril Ramaphosa to take disciplinary action against the minister within 30 days of the report's release.
I accordingly make the following order. Part A of this application is dealt with as one of urgency. The applicant's failure to comply with the rules of this court is condoned. The remedial orders in paragraph 8 of the Public Protector's Report 36 of 29/20 of 5 July 2019 are suspended pending the final determination of Part B of this application. The Public Protector or the Office of the Public Protector are interdicted from enforcing the remedial orders pending the final determination of Part B. The first, second and 10th respondents jointly and severally to pay the applicants, 8th respondents and 9 respondents' costs, which costs will include the costs consequent upon the employment of 2 counsel.
The Office of the Public Protector says it will study today's judgment by the High Court in Pretoria. The Public Protector's spokesperson responded to the judgment.
The judge also had some scathing remarks there, saying that some of the findings by the Public Protector against Minister Gordhan are nonsensical and that they are vague. I mean, how do you receive that as the Office of the Public Protector?
Well, that is equally disappointing, considering that we were asking this court to deal with the use of that kind of language in reference to the Public Protector, and that the learned judge also resorted to that kind of language. But as I said, we will take advice upon studying the judgment and map the way forward.
But the judge also saying, though, the language that was used does not feature in terms of what has to be dealt with in terms of what is being brought forward here. So what will the Public Protector do after this now?
That's the point I just made, to say we disagree with that position because we feel that that language applies to both Part A and B of the minister's application. So we disagree with that. But as I said, the Public Protector will have to go through this judgment. It's quite a long one. And then at that point, we will be in the position to indicate where to from now.
Is she going to move? Is she going to resign? Is the Public Protector going to resign?
No, why would she resign? She's not going to resign.
Well, for more on the story, we cross to my colleague Sipho Stuurman, who's standing by for us in Pretoria. Sipho, so in a way, Pravin Gordhan has won this particular round. Where to next?
Well, a very good afternoon to you and our viewers at home. Indeed, another loss for the Public Protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, and a win for Minister Pravin Gordhan on this round. As you mentioned there, of course, what we know now what's going to happen is Part B of this application, and Part B of this application includes the reviewing of the entire SARS so-called rogue unit report. That is the report, of course, that has gotten Minister Pravin Gordhan in trouble with Mkhwebane finding that the forming of that SARS rogue unit was unconstitutional, and that the manner in which some of the equipment was procured did not follow proper proceedings, and had asked the president to discipline Minister Pravin Gordhan within 30 days. Hence, then Minister Pravin Gordhan approached this court on an urgent basis to interdict the remedial actions of the Public Protector. We know the remedial actions, of course, are binding, so they can never be left hanging in the air. So there had to be then a court order that gives direction, and this court has given that direction that the remedial actions will be suspended pending that review application by Minister Pravin Gordhan. Nompu.
Sipho, when the spokesperson says that they're going to be reading the judgment, does that mean that there's a possibility that they might appeal this decision, or will they just let matters run their course?
Well, it's not quite clear where the Public Protector's Office is going to go to next. But what we do know is that, of course, they've described this as a disappointing loss. But also, strangely enough, last week when they came to court, they said under normal circumstances, they do not oppose, interdict applications. They understand that is part of, parties that are aggrieved. That's part of their legal recourse. The parties that have been, found guilty by the Public Protector, they are entitled to apply for these interdicts. But what they said got them to come here was the language that was used by Minister Pravin Gordhan, language suggesting that Public Protector Mkhwebane's understanding of the law is somewhat flawed, and that the manner that she did this, her report, it was not of the best investigations by her office. So they're suggesting that this entire application was an attack on the character of Public Protector, that is Busisiwe Mkhwebane. So they were really trying to protect the persona of the Public Protector, but as it turns out, the court said the protection of the persona of the Public Protector does not matter in this context, the context being that it's an urgent interdict application to suspend remedial actions pending the review process. And the judge here said that granting this interdict will not cause any damage to the office of the Public Protector. But we do know that the Public Protector's lawyer said that if this interdict was granted, it would actually do the opposite. It would actually indeed cause damage. It would diminish the standing of the Public Protector's office under Mkhwebane if she lost this round. And indeed, she has lost this round. But as you played that clip there earlier on, she did, the spokesperson said that she would not be resigning and that she will stay on. But certainly the numbers of court losses against Public Protector Mkhwebane are on the rise, Nompo.
And then just one last thing, in terms of the review of her total report about the SARS rogue unit, is a date set for that? When is that happening?
Well, we don't have a date as yet of the review application by the minister. What we, of course, the first important part was this urgent interdict, and then we know that part B then, which will also be heard by the High Court, will be dealing with the entire SARS report, which Minister Gordhan has labeled as a political fight back against him as Minister of Public Enterprises, saying that the Public Protector seems to be playing a game of politics, and that the report was flawed in law, and that it is simply an attack against him as a person, Minister Pravin Gordhan. So indeed, that's how Minister Gordhan described that report, rogue unit report by the Public Protector. So this is not yet over. It's just round one, and round one has gone to Minister Gordhan, but we shall await round two and see where it goes. But I must also emphasize some of the comments by the judge here today, saying that the findings by Public Protector against Minister Gordhan are nonsensical and they are vague. So that tells you perhaps the tone of this court regarding this report by Public Protector, but we can't as yet predict that. But if you listen to those type of words, it tells you that it's going to be a tough road ahead for the Public Protector.
And one very last thing, just listening to you there, very interesting that the court would seek to make comment on the merits of the report rather than the merit of the issue at hand, which is whether or not they should wait for the court to review the whole report first before Mr. Pravin Gordhan being disciplined by the president.
Indeed, we had a chat about this with some of our colleagues that the court are already making pronouncements against. But of course, I mean, you can't escape it because this a review process or interdict is on the backdrop of that report by Public Protector, the SARS report. So you cannot ignore the matters that are contained in that report. It is that report that found Minister Gordhan to be guilty, that found Minister Gordhan to have violated the Constitution. So all of this is informed by that report, and certainly the judge meticulously went through all the arguments that were made here by all the counsels that were involved in this case, and certainly she has come to those findings. But of course her comments don't have a binding effect on the overall review process. What has a binding effect is the finding that she has made, or the ruling rather that she's made, that she grants the interdict. But she has made those comments. It's quite quite interesting, but the EFF has already indicated that they may approach the Constitutional Court when they spoke last week. I don't know if they will still go on that route, but as it stands right now, Minister Gordhan has won this first round. The interdict that he was seeking has been granted, and it's another loss for the Office of the Public Protector.
Sipho, thank you very much for that report. The Tshwane Metro Police Department says traffic remains severely disrupted in and around the Pretoria CBD amid protest action by striking bus service employees. Municipal Workers Union, SAMWU, says employees are marching today demanding an 18% pay increase. Earlier, the city warned that disciplinary action would